What's up guys, Max here, Muscle World, and I'm terribly excited today, and the reason why is because I've just come up with an idea, amazing idea. Basically what I've decided I'm going to do, I'm going to do a weekly series, or regular series anyway. Basically I'm going to do like a expectations versus reality of what the Royal Marines are like. And the reason I'm doing this is because I get an awful lot of messages, a lot of comments, a lot of emails, a lot of DMs, from guys who are interested in joining the military. Again, messages 3 o'clock in the morning from guys saying, look, they're interested in joining the Marines and they've got a load of questions to ask about it. And the great thing about this is like, it's quite funny actually, because I can kind of see what videos are doing well at the time, because I end up getting loads of messages about that video. So I've been getting loads of messages lately. I'm glad to hear from you, really enjoy hearing from you, and I really do appreciate you getting in touch with me with your questions, and I just hope that I can help just a little bit with by sharing some of my experiences. As I know there's not many YouTubers from the Marines on YouTube, and even though I did leave quite a long time ago, and I didn't do a huge amount of time, I left in 2009, did about 4 years, and don't forget, everyone's experience will differ, so I can only talk to you about my experience. I can't tell you about a potential hypothetical event might happen in the future when you're serving, assuming you decide you want to go up and join. And it's going to be a different topic each week. Today I basically wanted to cover is, it was a question I get asked a lot, and I've been getting it asked quite a lot lately. And I think the reason why is because swimming pools in the UK are currently closed. So I think people are kind of like stressing out about it and thinking, oh my god, I can't swim, I can't practice my swimming. So I'm getting a lot of messages from people saying, look Max, I haven't been able to hit the pools. Do you have to be a really, really, really good swimmer to be a Marine? I mean, based on the fact that you are going to be in the Marines, there are going to be water-based stuff, they're amphibious troops, then you are going to have to be able to swim. But you don't have to be an Olympic level swimmer. In fact, you don't even need to be an amazing swimmer, alright? The minimum criteria is quite simple. As long as you can turn up and you can actually swim and you're confident in the water, then you are going to be fine. So the answer is no, you do not have to be an amazing swimmer. But I will say something that is amazing, and that is this protein shake here that I just made myself. It is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so there we go, that is the video ended. You don't have to be an amazing swimmer. No! There is something else I need to add to that. So the minimum requirements are PRMC, from what I remember, assuming that actually goes ahead anymore. I don't know, I ain't got my crystal ball. From what I remember, it might be different now. You basically go into the pool, stand up on a diving board, which is like 3 meters high, 12 foot, something like that. You climb the top of that, and then you've just gotta step off it and do like a pencil dive, where you basically stood up like that and you just step off and you go into the water feet first. You go to the bottom, come up, and then you got to swim a length. From what I remember, you got to swim back, and then I think you got to dive down to the bottom of the water in the deep end, and then get yourself a brick, which is at the bottom, and I think it's about 3.5 meters deep. Bring that to the surface, and then move over. That is everything you've got to do. If you can't do that, then they can't work with you. You can't swim. Now, if you were absolutely dying by finishing doing that, and you think to yourself, oh, I can swim a length, that's fine. You don't have to bother doing any training. Think again, because if you go there with you can just barely swim, you've only just taken your armbands off and you're thinking, okay, that's great, I can pass this stuff, that's fine, but you're probably going to steer yourself off, you're going to stitch yourself up, you're going to really struggle later, you're going to put yourself at a disadvantage. When you get to Limestone, you do swimming training, and what they'll do is they'll assess you again, they'll get you to do a swimming lengths up and down, and they'll be watching you, and they'll be assessing you, and they'll basically separate you into a group. So they'll get you a good group who can swim well, and a group who can't swim at all, or can't swim well, and then they'll work with these guys. So the guys who can't swim well, they'll teach technique, they'll get you swimming like, with a float between your legs, get you to do your arm movements, and then they'll get the float in your arms, and then they'll get you doing your leg movements, and then they'll take the float away and get you doing it together, which is basic swimming lessons really. So while that's happening, then this group here are off doing swim circuits, basically swim training, so they do more intense stuff, so they're actually improving their fitness. So they're already at a higher level, and they're able to work on the fitness. So the people who are at the lower level, like you can't expect them to suddenly be doing this fitness swimming, because they can't swim very well and they'll come in the water and they just literally splash around. So they get the lessons, crash course of swimming, and then what happens then, the two groups kind of converge and meet together, and then they do more swim training, and then they go off and they do the swimming test at the same time. So the actual swimming test, even though it's still not that challenging, if you can't swim, you might struggle with it. But having said that, like I said, it is not that a very difficult test. Not many people fail it. Once you've done that, then you don't do any more swimming. So you might say, Max, that's fine, okay, I can relax. I don't need to sit back and do any swimming before I get myself down there. I would say if you do that, that's completely wrong. And you put yourself at a disadvantage. You want to be at the best standard you possibly can before you get down there. So you've got that foundation already in place, and they just they put the finishing touches to it, and then they get you to improve your fitness rather than improving your technique. Hopefully you should learn your technique already and be confident in the water. The reason why is because you need to use swimming later on. I don't mean in the safety of the swimming pool or anything like that. You need it to do your job, because you're going to be out and about. You might be deployed at sea, you might be in the river, you might be on a boat. If you go flying out of a boat, then you're going to have to swim. And you're going to be wearing kit, you're going to be wearing more kit on operations than you are in training. So you're going to be in harder conditions. Also, well, when you go do things like underwater dunker drills, when they put you in this thing when it goes underwater, and you're going to have to be able to escape through a hatch in the dark from an upside down craft. And you don't want to be the one there who's got all the safety divers around him, because you've got to wear a little blue hat to say that you're scared of the water, because you will just get the ripped out of you by the rest of the lads. So a lot of the series is about kind of my experience as well. So I don't want to just kind of just say, oh yeah, I'm not one of these people who just read a load of textbooks and say, yeah, this, that, the other, because it's something I've read. I like to put things into real life scenarios. And like I said, my experiences will differ from everyone else's. I'm sure everybody else has got some scenarios. So I want to tell you 2 scenarios where having to be confident in the water and having to be able to swim really came in handy. Sorry, 3 scenarios. Okay, I'm going to go with 3 scenarios. I'm going to give you an example of somebody who didn't learn to swim beforehand. So the first example, I'm going to give you one for me, when I had to be able to swim, which we deployed out in the Indian Ocean. So Indian Ocean, massive ocean, loads of tiger sharks, and you're like, I think we're about 500 miles away from the nearest land. Anyway, so we were doing some training out there in the area. We were doing operations, but we were also taking the time in between us doing stuff to practice our skills. This is what you do. You don't just constantly doing operational stuff. When you're not doing that, you're just training and rehearsing and training. So most of the stuff you do is actually just training and rehearsing things. So anyway, we were doing some drills in the sea. The ship kind of was going off at a distance. We were out on like the ribs, which was an inflatable boat. We were going along, and basically the drill was kind of was recovery. So extracting people from the water at speed. So to test this, they basically needed a guy in the water. So what they did with the boat is you go along the boat. I was pushed overboard to sort of go in the sea. So I'm just bombing around now, treading water in the depth of the Indian Ocean, just watching the mothership, which is the Navy warship, disappear in the distance, and watching my little rib with my mates on going off in the distance as well. So at this point now, you're just out there, you're treading water. You've got to be confident in the water, because there's something called exposure. And if you've ever done like high mountain climbing or anything like particularly extreme, people sometimes get it where like it happens in water, deep water and things like that as well. So what happens is people are treading water, and then they start thinking, their mind starts thinking, they start thinking about what's underneath them. You've got a lot of depth underneath you. You've got a tiger shark, you start thinking about things like that. You start thinking, are these people going to actually come back and get me? And some people's minds start racing, and then if you imagine you're in that position and then you can't swim, you're going to start panicking, or you're more likely to start panicking. So the fact is though, however, because I could swim, I was fine. I was confident that my friends were going to come back and get me, and as it was, successful operation, we were able to come back and extract me from the water, no problems at all. Enjoyed it, good experience, and it was quite a peculiar experience actually seeing all that happening, actually being there by yourself, and you don't actually realise how small you are until you're put in a situation like that. Second one I want to talk about was we were in some real choppy waves, doing some training, and I was in another rib, and it's basically flipped over and landed on top of me, and I got smashed underwater by this rib. But I was in a situation there where I had to be confident under the water, like not panic, because if I panicked I probably would have died in that situation. Third scenario was the one you wanted to hear, which is where somebody didn't actually learn how to swim. So we were out in a loch in the middle of Scotland, very cold bit of water, and we had this guy, he wasn't British actually, he was a US Marine, cracking guy, real good guy, but we ended up being out in the middle of this loch, and a very cold loch in the middle of winter, and all we had to do basically was be pushed out of this boat and then swim, I think it's about 200 metres to land. And we all went in the water, we all jumped in, started swimming. All I could hear then was this American, I can't swim. So he's just there like, I can't swim. So he's basically got to swim 200 metres, but he can't swim. And he's only just now, despite doing a few years in the Marines in America, he's suddenly in this position where he's in the middle of the water, deep water, and he can't swim. Now, health and safety is not going to be happy with this. It probably wouldn't happen these days anyway, but he got basically told to go in anyway. He basically got chucked in, but he had to inflate his life jacket, so he was just kind of floating around the surface. So we all swam back to shore, and he's just floating around on the surface there, and basically had to get towed back to shore. So he didn't, I don't know if he was just saying that to get out of sort of jumping in the cold water, but he was kind of trying to swim and flap around. But that's just what I'm saying, is you might find yourself in situations where you do have to swim, and luckily that guy was in a safe environment. He had a life jacket. There was guys on a boat near him, and we were nearby anyway, so he would have been fine. Very important you stay on top of it, because like I said, it will put you at a disadvantage. You can perform the very basics through training and get through training with a swimming element anyway of it, but you've got to realise that you're doing it for a job, for a reason. So it does make sense to make sure you're particularly good at swimming, particularly if it's an area of weakness for you or an area where you're lacking in confidence. Then you need to make sure that you really kind of are putting a lot more into that, because when you've got a weakness like that, when you've got a lack of confidence like that, in something like swimming, it will be a real chink in your armour, it'll be a real weakness. So you need to get that addressed and turn that weakness into a strength. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Anyway, put in the comments anything you want to see next. Let me know. Been great to hear from you. And don't stop messaging me. Don't stop emailing me. I love hearing from you. Thank you very much. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.